New JPG Scandal Absolu. Let's talk about it.
Here's some codes to save you some cash on your next Middle Eastern niche or designer fragrances.
What's going on, guys? My name is Neeb. Welcome back to AROMATIX. Today we're going to be talking about Scandal Absolu, the newest release to the JPG Scandal flankers, basically. And before we get started with the video, drop a like, make sure to subscribe so this video can get recommended to other people just like yourself. So today is this bad boy right here. The new presentation is really not that new. It's just a different coloration. I love anything that's pretty much gold, and that's exactly what this one looks like. So very similar to the original, including the Le Parfum fragrance version. The only difference is going to have this ombre descending color gradient of gold. I like it. I personally think it's the most attractive of them all. The cap in itself, it seems relatively flimsy, but it's actually thinner metal. So the presentation of this is nothing spectacular, nothing brand new, I should say, but it does definitely look good in combination with the other flankers in itself. So this one in itself, I discovered only in around 2023. Its initial release was limited in the USA. Shortly after I got the original, I got the Le Parfum version, and I like the Le Parfum version, but there are certain differences. I personally like fragrances that are flirty, playful, they put you in a good mood, and sexy at the same time. I don't mind date night fragrances, which is exactly what this one seems like. It's like the date night version of this fragrance in itself. So what the original smells like is basically what's going to be the backbone carried through all of these fragrances, which is like this signature aromatic sage along with this woody dry down and some caramel. There is a similar funk across a lot of the JPG fragrances, and I definitely see it in this one. Generally speaking, I found it to be constant with their lavender nuance, but I think in this case it's going to be something of musk. So they have a distinctive funk, a proprietary blend amongst all of these, including their Ultramol and all of the Le Male fragrances. It's the JPG funk. It's there. This fragrance, however, rides on this backbone of tonka, caramel, some woods, and then there's that aromatic opening, including that mandarin orange in the opening. So it starts off relatively fruity, bright, playful, aromatic. It projects really good. This one lasts all day. Projection on it is like good 4 hours. It's a performer, and it's a no-brainer. If you like fragrances like Stronger With You, which I personally absolutely love the original one, then you're gonna like something like this. Although I enjoy Stronger With You more than I do this one, it does play in that same territory in terms of how the scent profile is composed. So playful, flirty, sweet. You can rock this in a multitude of occasions, seasons, etc. You can do it in dates, you can do it on warmer days, etc. Then they drop the Le Parfum, which seems like it takes that original DNA, sheds off a little bit of the playfulness, makes it a bit more masculine, makes it sexier, darker, denser. And it's as simple as that. It strips away all of the flirty aspects, keeps it more grown, mature, adds geranium, keeps it around the whole woody sandalwood and that caramel. So sweeter, denser, it is more appropriate for date night. Also because of the fact that it's an increased concentration, doesn't project as well as the original. Now we have Scandal Absolu, and Scandal Absolu is kind of something in between both. So presentation on this thing looks exactly the same as the other ones, just a different coloration. Notes of the new Absolu include Mirabelle, there's also chestnut and sandalwood, and that's exactly something in between both. Mirabelle is basically a type of plum. You get this fruity top. You also get a caramelized hazelnut in the mid, which recreates the whole caramel tonka in the original, and then in the dry down you get a sandalwood, which is basically the dry down of Le Parfum. This smells like it's something literally in between both. And for that very reason, it has both aspects of both great fragrances. I was torn in between both the original and the Le Parfum, and I was kind of reaching more so for the original in itself. Le Parfum is more specific, but now with the Absolu, it bridges both. And in all honesty, it makes it a better fragrance than both. If you were to ask me which one I would take over all of them, I personally would go for the Absolu. It's still kind of somewhere in between the original and the Absolu, but for me, I think overall it's going to be a better scent profile. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a better performing fragrance, which is going to lead me into that exact category. Performance for Scandal Absolu. This is a parfum concentration, and it lasts all freaking day. The only issue with this is it might not be that big of an issue, is the performance in terms of projection. Projection for this fragrance was for a good 2 hours. I would say max was a good 3 feet. You're leaving scent trails, but it's still within that 3 feet projection. For the remainder of the fragrance, it's a scent bubble. Don't expect anything that's going to be a screamer or anything like that. It performs in a similar territory and vein as the Le Parfum. However, it does reach a little bit further than the Le Parfum because of the fact that it has that addition of that fruity top, etc. So it is relatively similar, and it's somewhere right in between both. In terms of the scent profile, versatile in terms of the performance, etc. Longevity though, it does last the longest of all three. The next day I could still smell that caramelized hazelnut vibe on my clothing. I saw a few comparisons to like 1 Million Lucky, also Le Parfum. I can kind of see that. It does have that sweet and plum, but it's definitely still in this JPG territory, something right in between both of these. Occasions for this fragrance is much more versatile than the Le Parfum fragrance. You can definitely wear this one for less serious events, but you can also dress it up into dates, etc. And for that reason, it does seem like an overall better fragrance than both. I would personally rather reach for this than I would reach for either one of these on the same occasion. So if I were going on a date, I'd likely rock the Absolu. And if I were going just out, I would personally rather rock the Absolu as well. The only scenario where I would pick the original over the Absolu is if I was to go clubbing. I would probably rock this one, just spray it, cake it on. But in all honesty, now that I have both, I'd layer this with the Absolu. I'd spray this on underneath and then spray on the, or actually I should spray it the other way around. I would spray this on first as a layer to keep the longevity and then spray this on top. That's what I would personally do. So occasions, literally everywhere, anywhere. Highest of heat might not do the best, but I rocked it in about 72 degrees Fahrenheit and it did phenomenally. There's absolutely no problem with it. You can honestly wear what you want when you want, but the better scenarios is going to be when it's a little bit cooler, nothing more than I would say about 80 degrees. I paid around $180 because of the fact that it's a little bit harder to find right now. It could likely be around that. I would say it's probably gonna be around $160, $150 for this 1.7, considering the fact that all of these Le Parfums and elixirs are starting to charge a lot more for the small bottles. $160 to $180 sounds about normal. For around $140, $150, I would say is more fair for this one. JPG does have their prices or price ranges a little bit more fair, I would say. So at around $150, $140, that's the typical price range. That's pretty much all I have to say about Scandale Absolu. I personally like this one as my favorite, and the EDT version is gonna be my second favorite, and lastly is the Le Parfum. A lot of the reason why it's ordered like this is for the sheer versatility and for the fact that I like fragrances I'm gonna be able to wear a lot more, and it already has more of a depth than all three. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Let me know down in the comment section what you think about the Scandale JPG DNA in general. Are you even interested in either of the flankers, and are you thinking about picking up the Absolu? While you're down there, make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button. Till the next video, peace.